Monday, everyone, for another episode of Facebook Live. Really excited to be back here again. The reason why I started Facebook Live back in January was, as a physical therapist, I'm fortunate enough to have a reach and help out many patients inside the clinic. I'm a treating physical therapist. I treat about 30 to 40 hours per week, but I wanted to have a bigger reach. I wanted to add more value to you people out there. So I started the Facebook Live, Ask the Physical Therapist. So I go through varying topics in the field of physical therapy, but tonight I'm really excited to talk about ways to stay hydrated over the summer. It is crucial that we stay hydrated on a daily basis, but especially important over the summer. With the rising temperatures and exposure to the wind and the warm temperatures, a lot of times we find that we will sweat out a lot of our fluids, and also the body works really, really hard to stay cool. So we see that we are actually 60% water by weight, and proper hydration is absolutely essential for overall health. After all, what is hydration? What does that mean to the body? Well, organ function is a big thing. Blood pressure, it also regulates body temperature, helps to lubricate the joints, and moves waste out of the body. It also really helps to aid in digestion. So what happens, you're going to ask yourself, what happens if we don't drink enough water? Well, most of us associate dehydration when more water is moved out of our body than we can take in. So we associate muscle cramps, we'll associate fatigue, extreme thirst. Indeed, these are just some of the consequences of dehydration. But one of the big things that we notice is it can affect this. Dehydration can affect the brain. Did you know that the brain is 73% water? And if we don't keep up with the water intake, again, with this exercising, hot weather, wind, just being out in the elements for a long period of time, the brain is like a sponge. So when the brain gets dry, it can act like a sponge, and we can get dehydration and shrinking of actual brain tissue. In fact, just a 2% reduction in body water, which is a mere 3 pounds in a 150-pound person, can get short-term memory deficits, difficulty with attention, and difficulty with a visual motor tracking. We're also going to notice a loss of appetite, dry mouth, mild constipation, and temporary lightheadedness. These are just some of the symptoms of dehydration. A really good, easy measure to tell if we're dehydrated or not is to check the color of your urine. It should be a pale yellow, or even clear is optimal. So what are some ideas for happy hydrating? Well, we know that hydration is important, but one of the questions is, how do I increase my water intake without having to spend all the time in the bathroom or running to the bathroom many times throughout the day? And what else can we do? So I wanted to take this time today for my Facebook Live talk on 10 tips for staying healthily hydrated. Number one is you want to drink half your weight in body ounces, in body weight. So half your ounces in body weight would mean if you weigh 200 pounds, you want to have 100 pounds, you want to have 100 ounces of water. Number two, you want to invest in a reasonable water bottle. A reasonable sized water bottle, also one that is reusable. If we take all the plastic water bottles, many of them end up in the landfill, and we want to go green, so we want to get a reusable water bottle. This is also going to help us be mindful of how much water we're actually taking in. So for myself, I know that I need to take in 4 25-ounce bottles of water. I also want to say is that we need to take in half your body weight in ounces, and that's if you're sedentary. If you're active, I like to take about another 25 ounces per hour that I'm exercising at a minimum. A big thing that doing some research for this topic of hydration is we want to sip, don't chug. I had a tendency before I really looked at this that I would chug my water, but what I did notice after doing some research and talking to some people, the body has saliva in the mouth. When we sip the water, the saliva has alkalinic properties, which means it can help ease the stomach acid that's in your body. So if we take sips of water, we're going to get enough of that saliva, which will help neutralize our stomach, which is good for belly health and it will hopefully keep your stomach so it's not upset. We can also swish the water in our mouth. When we swish it around, it will help us to kind of more of the sipping idea where we're not just going to guzzle it and drink it down. Believe it or not, drinking lukewarm water is very, very important, or room temperature water, because when it touches the lips, it gives you a feeling of satisfaction. Really, one of the worst things you can do is to drink ice cold anything, especially ice cold water. It can upset your stomach, and it can actually, when you have it with a meal, can actually be toxic to your digestive process. Number 3 is we want to infuse the water. Whether you prefer limes, lemons, or orange, berries, or cucumbers, put something in your water that does not have artificial sweeteners. This is really helpful. Also remember that water is water. Soda is not water. Tea is not water. Water is water. So that's what we're talking about today. Number 4 is we want to drink before we eat. This will help ease our hunger, and you're going to feel like you might get a little bit full, and you might not have to go after those late afternoon cravings or late evening cravings that you really don't need food, but you might be doing it because you're bored. Number 5 is we want to stick with water. Like I just mentioned before, we want it like juices and milk, herbal teas. They're all definitely good to hydrate your body, but water is water, especially with anything with caffeine, which can be dehydrating. So sticking with water will help you with to skip any of the unnecessary sugars or additives that really aren't good for you anyway. Number 6 is a real important one to me. When I first started off drinking more water, the healthy amount of water is I made a water schedule, because it really felt impossible for me. How do I possibly get in 100 ounces of water without being at the bathroom all day long? So I broke it up into, I would have a certain amount by 9 o'clock, certain amount by 12 o'clock, certain amount by 3 o'clock, and a certain amount by 6 o'clock. This really helped me to stay on track with my water intake. Number 7 is eat your way to hydration. I love to eat, and the good news is that only 70 to 80% of daily hydration comes from water. That means 20 to 30% should be coming actually from the food that we eat. Cucumbers have 97% water, celery 96%, tomatoes and radishes 95%, all sorts of peppers have 93%, cauliflower, watermelon, spinach, strawberries, and grapefruit, they all have a significant amount of water. Number 8 is we want to pre-hydrate. What does that mean? We can do something before we even drink to have something in our belly. There was a superfood way back from a long, long time ago called chia seeds. They are powerful hydrating, they are powerhouses for hydration. They can hold up to 12 times their weight in water. So if you want to have, you're going to go out to do a long walk or spend a lot of time outside over the next day, then soak some chia seeds, really soak them well in some good water, and you can eat them the night before, and they will slowly release some hydration over the next period of time. Number 9 is you want to go for coconut water. Coconut water is fantastic. It's mineral-rich liquid that is really helpful for the body and is super hydrating. Number 10, but certainly not number 10, the last one, but certainly not the least important, is take your probiotics. I feel it's been really, really important for me taking my probiotics. It really helps with gut strength. It helps with your gut health, I should say. And that a lot of studies have been shown that your gut health is super important. And if we can keep your gut well hydrated, it actually helps fight off disease, keeps your whole body hydrated from the inside. It's just really a good thing. So look into some probiotics. So hopefully you got some good information out of this talk, that water is one of the most important things we can do to hydrate our body, because our body is the most efficient machine there is made, and we want to make sure that it's functioning the best that we can all the time. So again, thank you for tuning in. Todd Houghton here from Houghton Physical Therapy. Excited again for our next week's session. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at toddh@houghtonphysicaltherapy.com. Reach me anytime. Thank you very much. Have a great night.